Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today at our Object Matrix and Masstech joint webinar. My name's Mark Haberfield and I am a pre-sales engineer here at Object Matrix. And on the line with me today we have Sava.
Hi, I'm Sava Miller. I'm Vice President of Product for Masstech.
Thank you. So today we're just going to go through an introduction to a couple of the companies. There might be a few people on the phone who haven't met us before, and then we'll look at the Matrix Store and the Accumulate products, the core products that we're talking about today. A little bit of an insight into the integration, and then the demo itself. So thank you everyone for joining. We are recording the meeting, but if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat or feel free to unmute yourselves, and we will talk to you as we go along. So yeah, let's get underway with Object Matrix. Who is Object Matrix? Well, we are a storage company, object storage company, software company, started back in 2003, but my boss has been in the object storage business for many years before that as well. And they helped build some of the first object storage systems out there, and they came into their own product and their own improved object storage. So we concentrated on the media industry and have been following our customers' lead in the media industry for that long time. We've got a proven track record of revolutionizing the workflows and media workflows in particular, and all of our products, like I said, have been tailored towards the media industry. We've been trying to make the workflows more efficient. Efficiency is our goal, and we like to say that for every dollar spent on a Matrix store will allow your creatives to create you $2 more in the pocket each time. So a bit of our history, like I said, started in 2003, and in 2005 we had an online cloud archive. Far too early to market with that. So in 2006 we started focusing on creative workflows. And got our first couple of customers with creative workflows in the market. We had a little bit of a slow profile through 2006 to 2009, but we did bring out two new bits of software. One of them, MXFS, Matrix Store File System, that allows you to convert your objects into a file structure, and our Avid integration for those Avid customers. And from there, concentrating on those media customers, we were bringing in customers left, right, and center, all the way through to the 200 clusters we have globally at the moment. So we'll go on to the obligatory customer slide, and you'll see many customers in there, quite a lot of whom are in sports, media, news, post houses, video on demand, and news, etc. But you'll also see in there the odd bank and the odd energy company, the odd parliament, for example, who are all there for media workflows, but also the security side of things, the extra belt and braces that Matrix Store gives you when it comes to media workflows. I'll hand over to Sava now to tell you a little bit about Masstech.
Great, thanks, Mark. So taking a look at Masstech, if you can move on to the next slide. Our goal is really to allow our customers to extract the maximum value from their content and to make sure that they always have access to their content, regardless of whether they are using us as a middleware system to help control storage or as an asset management system that gives them visibility into those assets. But regardless of that, we want to make sure that it's easy and automated for them to move content around between the various storage systems that make up their ecosystem, and also the broadcast and business systems that they're using. So that's really kind of the core of our strategy as a company. Next slide. So we've been around for about 20 years. Our genesis is really in two separate companies. So there was Masstech Group, and there was SGL. And both companies were working in the archive management area and providing solutions for primarily media and entertainment companies. However, there were different areas of focus for both companies. And also geographically, the two companies had sort of a different core customer base, had more success in certain regions versus others. So about 4 years ago, the two companies merged, and we're now based in the UK. And that really has allowed us to provide a complete worldwide sales and support organization that really fits our customer base. And that enables us to provide the best archive and asset management solution for the needs of customers in this particular area. We are very highly focused on media and entertainment. We do have some customers who might be sort of outside of that traditional media and entertainment area, but even there, their focus really is on working with media content, even though they're not traditional broadcasters or post-production houses. So we're very focused on M&E. Next slide. Here you can see a few details about the company. As I mentioned, we are UK based. We've got about 400, almost 450 customers today. And we recently won our second technical Emmy just in this past year. Of course, we had to accept it virtually, just like everybody else. But we're very happy to have received it. And a couple of stats there that are important to us. One, we're seeing an uptick in public cloud, in customers who want us to help manage public cloud storage. And so we've got a number of engagements happening there, and it's rapidly increasing, particularly in this current pandemic. It's become much more of a priority for our customers. And customer satisfaction is very important to us. And based on our surveys of our customers, we have a 97% customer satisfaction rate. We'll always strive to get that to 100%, but we feel like that's a pretty decent score. Next slide. Oh, I think that was the previous one. There you go. And then, as Mark said, there's the obligatory customer slide. This is just a small subset of our customers, but you should see a number of them that you recognize, whatever region you might be in. And key to us is that, it's not just the largest customers, it's not just the smallest customers. We support a range of customers across the world. And we can fit a variety of different price points and a variety of different feature requirements that these customers might need. Over to you, Mark.
Great, thank you very much. Well, for those of you who don't know, Object Matrix main product is the Matrix Store. Everyone calls it the Object Matrix, but it's a media-focused cloud. It's your cloud, it's a private cloud, it's a hybrid cloud, it's a storage platform. It's object storage that you use yourselves. It enables companies to focus on revenue generation. It takes away all of those manual media asset management tool side of things. And it basically allows the creatives to keep on being creative, but at the same time know that you've got a safe, reliable object storage in the background. We've got customers with uptimes 4 or 5 years out there, and it's very future-proof in that it can scale, grow with the business. The workflows can be adapted and changed as you need them to, as your customers choose to make it happen. And as many customers of ours, such as BT, BBC, etc., will tell you, they will keep these systems for 10+ years. They will just keep upgrading the hardware, no downtime, keep going. And it avoids that constant need to migrate data every few years, and just keeps that main system in place. We've got the built-in business continuity as well, from the side of things where we can keep multiple copies, we keep the data as you need it to be kept. And we can also have the built-in replication as well. So you've also got site redundancy. You know, if an entire site is offline for some reason, you've got the ability to pick up within a short amount of time at a second location for that full business continuity. And then, of course, as with every company at the moment, the cloud side of things allows you great self-serve and remote access, and the ability to actually get to your assets from anywhere in the world using your Matrix store is a key part of our ethos, and something we've been talking about for many years, and obviously more recently has come into fruition. So what is the Matrix store? Well, object storage platform, but it's an S3 compatible one. We've got the S3 endpoints available to you. Sits on commodity hardware, but intuitive and familiar interfaces, simple things. So you can have standard file system access, SMB or Matrix store file system that mounts as a local drive on Windows, Mac and Linux. But then we've got the ability to add in the extra tools that allow that bit of extra smarts. What do I mean by smarts? Well, it's not just a dumb storage. You've got all that digital content governance, looking after the data, doing the checksums, making sure it's in the right place at the right time, multiple copies in cloud, public cloud, private cloud, etc. But you've also got a few extra smarts in that you've got the ability to extract metadata, and the metadata is key to a lot of workflow these days. If you can't find it, you probably haven't got it. So having that important metadata, and even just camera metadata extracted, XMP metadata extracted, AS11, AS10, all important in making sure that your object storage is available to you. And again, backing up all of that metadata just as much as we back up the data itself, and not in proprietary formats, keeping it available to our end users to allow them to get it back as and when they need it in there. Like I said, very low management. Uptimes are generally all the way through until your next upgrade, and full automation and orchestration abilities within the system to make things easier, to make sure everything's where you need it, when you need it. How do we deploy it? Well, we can deploy it in several ways. Most people opt for the private cloud on-premises option, and that gives the fastest access. But we're seeing lots and lots of our customers now have a second location, remote location. Initially, it was designed for disaster recovery or business continuity, but now with people working in different locations, people are just sharing assets, dropping them in a vault, replicating it to a second location and working on it somewhere else, or having someone send it back. Of course, in the UK and South Africa, we now have Matrix Store Cloud. We're also trying to push that out into Europe, France and Belgium, and hopefully in the US and South America in the not too distant future as well. Exactly the same, you've got the ability to replicate to it, and several of our tools, the S3 interface, the Vision interface, allow you to access that data from anywhere, whether you've got a direct pipe to the Matrix Store Cloud or whether you're just using standard internet. And then, of course, with all storages these days, we've got the ability to work nicely with the public clouds as well. So we can be sending or receiving data to and from them, and allowing you to keep the proxies in Matrix Store, so you can decide how you want to get that data back. If you want to get that data back, is it the right data to be bringing back when you actually need it? So many workflows: ingest, file transfer, transform, digitize, play out, archive, distribute and share, all available to our customers. This is a very wordy slide, and I'm not going to go through all of it, but what this slide does tell us is how flexible Matrix Store is. You've got all the integrations with great companies like Masstech. You've got the security and protections, the metadata and smarts, the multiple access, the multi-tenancy, the ability to save time and money. It's what we at Matrix Store and Object Matrix like to give our customers with the Matrix Store. And back over to you, Sava.
Great. So yes, I'll talk a little bit about our Cumulate platform. So Cumulate is the platform that we use for a variety of different use cases and workflows. So if you can move to the next slide, you can see our three core use cases for Cumulate: intelligent storage management, workflow orchestration, and content management. And the single Cumulate platform supports all of these. Some of our customers use one or the other, and some use all aspects, so all of these particular use cases within their environment. A single server can support all, both the sort of storage management piece as well as the content management and workflow orchestration. Our systems can also scale up as customers need additional throughput and additional redundancy and failover. Next slide. So the intelligent storage management piece is really where we came from as a company, and it's our core knowledge base as a company. We have the majority of our customers using us to control storage systems. In many cases, we are working behind the scenes. We're working as a middleware system being controlled by a MAM or PAM or DAM system. Our intelligent storage management system gives those vendors the ability to work with any kind of storage. So we present a single unified namespace, regardless of whether the storage is on premises or in the cloud, regardless of whether it's object storage such as Object Matrix or LTO or optical disk or something else. We are seeing that in many cases, our customers are interested in some sort of hybrid solution that does involve cloud storage. That has been accelerated to a certain extent through the COVID-19 pandemic. And our core belief is that that storage should be the same way as on-prem storage of whatever type, and that you should be able to work with that content regardless of where it lives. So in the next slide, on top of that intelligent storage management, we can also put our web application to enable customers, to enable users to browse proxies, to search across all of the assets, to access and change metadata, to plug in editing clients so that editing clients can access the archival content directly from their desktops without having to sort of go through a lot of jump through a lot of hoops, to access all of that material in a way that's very friendly to the user, and to restore full assets, but also to do partial file restores, so that they can take just small pieces of content as opposed to pulling over massive files from wherever they might be stored. To create the proxies and also to move content and transcode content between different professional formats and different professional wrappers, we have our own embedded transcode engine, software transcode engine that supports all the major broadcast and professional formats, so that users can not only view proxies, but they can also, as they transfer content, have that content automatically transcoded into the correct format for the destination that they've selected. Next slide. Along with that asset management capability, we do provide a level of workflow orchestration. And this really is, once again, comes out of our storage management background. So we're not trying to necessarily provide an enterprise MAM. That's not really our goal. What we're trying to do is provide a solution so that customers who want to make their storage management more intelligent and give users access to all of those content that might be in storage, and who may not have an enterprise MAM budget, can do that and can work with that in a very intelligent way. Our workflow is oriented around a couple of different things. Number one, enabling lifecycle management of content. So not just based on the created date of the content, but also based on the metadata that we extract, which is not just technical metadata, but also editorial metadata from the asset management systems and the editing systems. We want to automate batch processes. So for example, archiving of content in a news environment, we can completely automate that based on the news running orders, so that users don't have to archive content, but we can pull that out based on what actually went to air. And also enriching content. So we can integrate with a variety of third-party AI and machine learning services, so that as you have content that might not have a lot of descriptive or editorial metadata, we can have that created automatically by those services, and then pull that back either as documents that are attached to the assets, or as time-based metadata that's attached to the assets, markers and segments. Next slide.
Great, thank you. I mean, there's just a couple more slides left now, and then we'll get onto the demo. But just to give an idea of how we've seen the deployments out there, we've got Matrix Store, private cloud, in-house, and we've got the ability to put the Masstech servers right next to those Matrix stores, or directly in the cloud. We can take them from the cloud direction. You give access. That then allows you to have the Matrix Store cloud itself. And again, we can put the servers next to the rack where the Matrix Store cloud is hosted, or you can be using the direct internet access for it. The other thing to mention is just the replication side of things. You could be having Matrix Store do that replication, or you could allow Masstech to move the data around as it sees fit, to make sure you belt and braces know where that data is in either an on-prem or the Matrix Store cloud service itself. Quite exciting as well is the ability to have Matrix Store via the Samba or the S3 interface as your high res, and Masstech doing the proxy side of things, delivering the through the panels to Premiere Pro or Media Composer, the ability to do that editing within those products, Masstech being the gateway, the streaming server for the proxies, and allowing us the ability to have the high res in Matrix Store that's just conformed at the end when it comes to the actual finalizing of the project. So let's skip over to the demo and how it actually looks. If I go to this one here, we'll have a quick look at the Matrix Store under the hood, see what's happening. But generally, you probably want to see how it works. My Matrix Store is in the office. It's made up of 3 nodes. And within those Matrix Store, we got lots of tasks running. They are constantly checking the assets are perfect, the verification, the replication, and various other things, making sure the assets are bit for bit perfect. We've got Active Directory integration and the full user group management side of things, but those users can now get quite granular. We can give them permission on individual vaults. They can work on a space, an area that's dedicated to them, or the entire cluster permissions. We can give them individual access keys so they can access just one at a time. And we can even fire the capabilities, the ability to say what they can do within certain applications as well. So you can go quite granular, or you can keep it quite role-based, high level. From the vault side of things, when we create our vaults, this is where we decide our policies, our content governance. We give it names. We decide if those smarts are going to extract that process in place, metadata, XMP, IMF, AS11, etc. And we can decide the compliance as well. Am I going to lock my data for a certain amount of time so that I can make sure no one is allowed to change it? Or am I going to just allow people to use the data and not delete, or maybe allow them to delete, but then trust my trash cans are there to look after that data as well? I've also got the ability to switch on replication. So it's a vault by vault. You decide which projects or which parts of the business are going to be replicating, and you decide which bits need the backup. And that's completely up to you, along with a few extra features about stubbing and forcing deletes on targets, etc. Of course, all of that is audited in the background because we need to see who's doing what, and it's important for us to know who's actually accessing the data or deleting the data, so that if something does accidentally happen, we know who did it, when, why, and hopefully we can educate them to not do naughty things in the future. All of that all kind of swings into our analytics as well. So we've got a built-in analytics tool called Sense. It's a database of all of the things that are happening within your cluster. And some of those things are simple hardware, what's happening at hardware level, what ports are up and down, etc. But some of them actually go right down to the granularity of, you know, vault statistics and cluster statistics. Who's looking at what time in the matrix store. And I can again dive into individual vaults. I can separate out the time frame and look at, you know, what's happening in the last 7 days, 90 days, etc., and see the data flowing throughout my system over time. I can see the usage, the peaks, the troughs, and know who's working when and where. I said before, we've got tools such as MXFS that allows you to mount as a local drive, or Samba, NFS, etc. But it becomes a lot better when we start looking at our tools that particularly talk to the matrix store using the API. This is one of those tools. It's called Vision, and it can be skinned up to look and feel any way you like. You can brand this up to look like your company with your color scheme. And of course, when the user logs in, they will see their vaults on the left-hand side of the system. Here's the vaults I've got access to, and you can see you've got the ability to browse around in a kind of a traditional thumbnail style and see the assets. Now you'll see this is actually a live look on the matrix store. So we're actually seeing our matrix store as it comes up. This isn't a database, we're not caching anything. This metadata is being pulled up straight away from the matrix store. And you can see some of that stuff we extracted, the media info from the camera info, to tell us a little bit about what the asset is, as well as bespoke metadata forms. So works in most browsers. You can upload, download, you can do advanced searches. We've got the ability to, obviously all the standard things, rename, copy, move, as well as add attachments as well, make relations between the assets. So if you've got a QA file, or a subtitles file, you can attach them to the core asset as well. So you can be searching for the subtitles and find the main asset that they're attached to. Also got the ability to download the proxy or the low res. And of course, because we've got a proxy, it means we've got something we can play. I can double click an asset and it will play straight away for me. Standard JKL controls on that player. I've even got the ability to change this time frame, etc., and view my asset, look at the metadata, and decide if it's the one I want to be using or playing or pulling back or adding to my project that I'm working on. I've also got the ability to add tags as well, so I could be clicking on approved and say, yeah, I like this one, it's great. And it generally allows our customers a view into their matrix store, what's happening, a light end view. And this would complement something like Masstech, where Masstech would be looking at the overall storage, every storage, but you might have a few users who are just concentrating on what's in the matrix store and just asset managing those things. So if I stop presenting my screen, I'll hand over to Sava to give you a little look at the Accumulate product in a bit more detail. You're muted, just so you know.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right, let's see. So I'm going to present. So I'm not sure whether it's presenting my entire screen or just a section. Mark, I've switched to a different machine. So
yeah.
What can you see?
I think you've got the entire screen, so you've got your Safari up at the moment.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, so all right, so you can see Accumulate now.
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, so if we take a look at at the Accumulate application, here I can see a list of the different storage locations that are configured in the system. So we have, as you can see, a matrix store storage location, and Accumulate gives you the ability to set up storage policies and profiles for each of these different locations, but then to make that accessible to end users and to the systems that might control us as a single namespace. So it's always possible to get visibility and to see where content is stored. But for systems or users who might be working with us, they can also just do a search for a piece of content and find it wherever it might live. But here in the storage locations, I can see Matrix Store and I can browse to it and I can see there's one asset stored in our Matrix Store storage right now, which we're connected to via S3. I can also go here to the search and I can search now across all of the different storage systems that we're connected to. So if I start typing, I get some predictive results that show me the word matrix when it occurs in an asset name. But if I do the search itself, now I'll see that word wherever it might exist in the asset metadata or the instance metadata. So here I can see there are three separate assets, three separate pieces of content that Object Matrix has graciously shared with us to use for the demo. I can see a thumbnail for any of them. I can also go here and I can scrub through keyframes that we extract when we get the asset, when we ingest the asset into our system. And I can also simultaneously scrub through the thumbnails for all of these assets so that I can see so I can figure out which one is the one that I need. As I mentioned, this search does go across all of the asset metadata, so I can see when matrix was just within the asset name or within any of the other structured metadata, or even in this case, when it was in a document or a PDF that was attached to this asset. So here, when I open up the last shuffle, I can see that that metadata was not only within the structured metadata here, but it's also within a cut sheet, a PDF that's attached to this asset. So it'll take a couple seconds to open up that PDF, but this is attached, and all of the text that's in this document is indexed and then is available to search. So whether that might be a news script or meeting minutes or some production information or credits or any type of information that might be useful, a QC report, that information is stored with the asset and is available to search. We also have, as I mentioned, the structured metadata, which you can see here, and those fields can be editable depending on user access rights. So I can go here and I can change anything if I want to, and I can enter that information and save that metadata change. We also have unstructured metadata, or sorry, I should say time-based metadata, markers and segments that are stored on this asset so that I can quickly view that information. And these markers and segments can be created both within our system, but also by external systems. So in an Avid or an Adobe editing environment, we can get the locators from those systems, and those can go into the archive so that they're stored alongside the archived asset. Now from here, I can transfer the asset. So I can transfer an asset to any of those other storage systems or any of those other production systems or asset management systems that are connected to Accumulate. If I go back to the search, though, I can also do that for multiple assets simultaneously. So for example, I can take these two assets and I can select them and I can bulk transfer those two assets. So let's just transfer those to Matrix Store. And that transfer has succeeded. or is in progress. And when I go to look at this board here, I'll see a list of all of the transfers that either are in progress or that have taken place recently. So I can see those here and I can see their status. I can see that this asset has now transferred over. So when I open it up here in the list of instances, essentially the list of copies of this asset, I can see that we have this asset stored in four different instances, which might be either in different formats or in different locations. And for example, we've got that instance that's on the Matrix Store storage. Like Matrix Store, we have some analytics. Our analytics are probably a little less granular, but do provide sort of visibility across the Accumulate environment. A different type of analytic for a different type of use case. In this case, you can see storage usage over time across all of the different storage systems. You can see the media types. I can also go and I can see other types of searches that are more, or analytics that are more content related. So for example, I can see the most recently or most commonly transferred assets. And these analytics are customizable so that our customers can create their own widgets based on any of the information that we index in the system. One other quick thing that I want to mention is that when I do a search, I have the ability to search my own system. However, I can also have a federated system or federated systems. So if I have an environment with multiple different locations or multiple different work groups, I can search across those different work groups simultaneously. And so here, when I searched my current system, I had 111 results. But when I add the NVA system, which is a completely separate Accumulate system, now I get 170 results. So I can search across the different systems. I can also view content on other Accumulate systems, and I can transfer content between those systems. So if I go down here and find an asset from that NVA system, not only can I scrub through its keyframes and open it up to view its proxy, but I can also localize that, which will transfer that over to this Accumulate system that I'm connected to. Okay, so let me turn the desktop over back to you.
Thank you very much for that. It's amazing how many people like to put markers on the spandex side of things in that video. I mean, I'll just quickly show you how it looks in Matrix Store as well, since we're here. So obviously those assets came into our Matrix Store cloud, which is an instance. We've got, did I just click the right button? Hey. Present screen, your entire screen, screen one, share. There we go, it's better. So yeah, we've got our Vision instance on our Matrix Store cloud hosted out of Newport in South Wales, backed up into London. And when I log in, we can see this is where we've had our S3 instance, and in particular, you know, this user's got access to only a couple of vaults. This particular system has nearly 250. You'll see they've not got full permissions on the first one, but when they go to the vault with the one we've been testing with, we can see those assets that Accumulate pushed here. And there's our last shuffle with some of that metadata that's been either self-extracted or put there by the Accumulate system. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. I hope it has been useful. If you want any further details, please let us know. And obviously contact us. If I could put the contact slide up, that would probably help everybody as well, wouldn't it? And hopefully we'll see you all in the not too distant future. Thank you very much, Sava, for your help on this as well. Been good.
Thank you very much. We'd like to really thank Object Matrix for hosting and inviting us to be part of this. And as well, thanks everybody for attending.